year I felt had been a little less than straightforward about his conservative nature and answered questions a little differently than I believe to be the truth. So during his 2 years I followed very carefully what he did and decided that indeed he hadn't been particularly straightforward. So I ran against him again in 2002 and managed to win and have been there ever since. So let me just talk for a minute about the new people that are going to be in the legislature next time. So Dan will be returning, and Paulette will be there, and Gary will be there. And there are some undone things that need to be done. So I know that you'll go there and take those seriously, and I do want to just review those. We know that education issues always are at the forefront. Education K-12 is underfunded. You'll have the Common Core to deal with appropriately the recommendations of the governor's task force. If you happen to notice, the task force recommended a new method of compensating teachers, the career ladder. And you should know that we've been through that one time, haven't we? In the 1980s, the legislature dictated that every school district should come up with its own plan for a career ladder scheme of compensating teachers, and we all did that. And believe me, we spent hours in these meetings putting together our plans. Sue and I did it for Moscow along with many other people, and then after all that, the legislature decided not to fund it. And I'm very skeptical that this legislature will have the will to do that because it's going to cost money. And you've got a group of people that would rather cut taxes than anything, so it's going to be a challenge. Higher education always needs more funding, accessibility, and better pay so that we can keep those talented people that we happen to have, talented teachers, talented researchers. We have the healthcare issues to deal with, need to expand and improve mental health programs and such things like funding for public defender and civil rights. How could the leadership of the Idaho legislature refuse to even introduce the 4 words legislation, to add the 4 words to Idaho's Human Rights Act? And you probably read that there were demonstrations on the part of the individuals that would be particularly affected by that. They just want sexual orientation and gender identity, those 4 words added to the Idaho's Human Rights Act. And the leadership in the legislature would not even let them introduce that. And I think that's just brings shame down on the heads of the state of Idaho, and I hope that we will reverse it. Now, you may remember that some years ago, the amendment was added to the Idaho Constitution that said that a marriage between a man and a woman is the only domestic legal union that shall be valid or recognized in this state. That was already in Idaho code, and we added it to the Idaho Constitution. And we know that that recently has been a problem when we have a lesbian couple not able to be buried in our military cemetery. And is your letter to the editor been in yet, Barry?
I think it is early next week.
Okay, so Barry Johnson, who is a retired military and appreciates what a terrible thing that is for someone who has served her country to be denied this opportunity, has written a very direct and powerful letter to the editor. So you should watch for it, because that again is something that's just shameful and something that needs to be corrected. So now let me just state clearly, Raoul Labrador is going down. Jim Risch is going down. I guarantee you that during this election, you will find Nels Mitchell and myself and others who are running on the Democrat ticket, running a campaign that focuses on Idaho values. And this is going to be a year where the Republicans can't escape by just expecting us to vote for the person with the R by his or her name. Because we have seen what happens in Congress when you have people that behave as they do, with these slaves to these far-right concepts to try to block anything positive from actually happening. And that shutdown of the government that was engineered by Raul Labrador and supported by Jim Risch is just something that the American people are sick of, and as a matter of fact, the moderate Republicans in the state of Idaho are not going to put up with that anymore. So, the question is, how do we win? Well, I'm sure that's a legitimate question that a lot of people ask, because time after time, we've seen the better candidate lose just because of the political party. And so how do we win? Well, we have groups of people that are going to be very interested in the story we have to tell and the values that we're going to sell to them right now. So we're ready to go with these, but we're ready to serve the people, do what's right for the people. And such things as taking care of women's rights, for example, supporting the opportunity for our young people to access a college education and not spend the rest of their lives paying it off. All kinds of things that will resonate with groups of voters, women voters, for example, Latino voters who have been promised immigration reform by Raul Labrador, and here he is with the expertise to pull that off, and he won't do it. So we'll take the stories out there, we'll work very hard. As Nell said, we just can't do it without you. You're going to be part of the story because you're going to go home and talk to your friends and your neighbors and the people on your Christmas card list or whatever it takes. And we're going to get people out, and this year we're going to win. So, again, thanks for coming. When have we had so many good, energetic Democrats in one room for a while? It couldn't be better, and I've really enjoyed the evening. Thank you very much.